Remain seated, please.
Mr. Levinson.
Your Honor, I'd like to call the defendant, Mrs. Draper.
You can testify from your seat, Mrs. Draper.
I'd like to take the stand, please.
That's all right. We'll swear you at your seat.
I'd like to take the stand, please.
Your testimony will
It
be
is
just
bad
as
enough to have to
valid.
come in here in a bathrobe. Don't make it worse. I'm a witness and I want to take the stand. I'm not going to hurt you, Your Honor. I'm really pretty harmless.
Of course, my dear, of course.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give in this special proceeding shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do?
Be seated, please.
Mrs. Draper, you are the defendant in this proceeding, right?
Yes, I'm the defendant.
Prior to your commitment to this hospital for mental examination, were you indicted for any criminal acts in New York County?
I was indicted on a charge of manslaughter in the first degree.
How did you plead your arraignment?
Not guilty.
And since you could not post bail, you were sent where?
The House of Detention for Women on Rikers Island.
And to wait for your trial.
Yes,
And from there you were brought here, right?
yes.
Can you give me the names of the physicians who examined you here at Bellevue?
Julio Alvarez and Herbert Rosenthal. That's Rosenthal.
Did they examine you together or separately?
Separately.
How long was Dr. Alvarez's examination?
10, maybe 15 minutes. He doesn't speak much English.
Objection, Your
He doesn't. He's from Panama. His Spanish isn't so hot either. The only word he seemed to know was puta.
Puta?
It means whore.
How long did Dr. Rosenthal examine you?
55 minutes. He knows more English.
Your Honor. Mrs. Draper, do you understand the charge against you?
Yes, I do.
Can you define it for me?
First-degree manslaughter is a Class B felony under Section 125.20 of the Penal Law with intent to cause serious physical injury to another person, causing the death of such person or of a third person.
What's the maximum term for first-degree manslaughter?
25 years.
And the minimum?
It's fixed by the court.
Have you conferred with counsel concerning the charge against you?
Yes, several times.
During these conferences, did you give me all the facts and details constituting the defense to your indictment?
Yes, I did.
Did you give me the names and addresses of any of the witnesses?
Yes.
Did you write out for me a complete narrative of all events leading up to and following your arrest?
Yes.
Did you ask for me to explain to you the legal concept of justifiable force?
One may use physical force upon another when, and to the extent, he reasonably believes it necessary to defend himself from what he reasonably believes to be the use or imminent use of unlawful physical force by such other person.
What does that mean to you, Mrs. Draper?
It means if someone is working you over and you think they're going to beat your brains through the back of your head, you can try to stop them any way you need.
Mrs. Draper, did you instruct me to file a plea on your behalf?
Yes, I did.
What was that plea?
Not guilty.
Do you recognize any of the people in this courtroom?
Judge, prosecutor, defense attorney, court officer, and recorder. Witnesses. I'm the defendant testifying on my own behalf.
Do you know where this courtroom is?
It's on the 7th floor of Bellevue Hospital. The morgue is right across the street.
Do you know what court it's attached to?
Special term Part 2 of the Supreme Court of the State of New York.
Can you tell us today's business?
A special proceeding under Article 730 of the Criminal Procedure Law.
Mrs. Draper, can you tell us any of the provisions of Article 730?
Sure. If I lose today, I'm committed for a year.
Your Honor.
Let up finish, Mr. McMillan. You'll have your cross.
Thank you. 60 days before the year is up, the hospital can ask to retain me. If I lose again, the hospital can hold me for 2 years. From then on, the hospital can reapply to hold me every 2 years until 2/3 of the maximum charge on the highest sentence in the indictment. 2/3 of 25 years is 17 years. That is Article 730.
Your Honor.
But you guys aren't done yet. If the commissioner of the hospital, this is the hospital I've been sitting in for 17 years, he decides I'm still mentally ill and need some more treatment, he can apply to get an order of certification under Article 7.3 or 124 of the Mental Hygiene Law.
What does that mean to you, Mrs. Draper?
It means if they do it right, they can lock me up in a hospital for the criminally insane, and then they can lock me up in a run-of-the-mill loony bin, and they don't ever have to let me have a trial. That is what it means.
Your Honor, there's no...
On the table over there is a book called Criminal Law. Pages 287 through 298. Look it up.
Your Honor, the witness is
I
extending
didn't
the
write the book. The Honorable Eugene R. Canuto, Judge, New York City Criminal Court.
Your Honor.
Mr. McMillan, are you questioning Judge Canuto?
No, Your Honor, no.
However it may be executed, that is the statute, as you should know. Proceed, Mr.
Mrs. Draper, have you ever been admitted to a mental hospital before?
Except for this one, no.
Can you recall ever having sought out a therapist or any type of mental health worker for help, advice, or treatment?
No.
Did your family physician ever suggest that you undergo any type of psychiatric therapy? Did you ever lose a job or not get a job due to the possibility of mental illness?
No.
Have you ever been prescribed any of the drugs used in treating psychiatric disorders, such as tranquilizers or antidepressants?
No.
Have you ever been prescribed sleeping pills?
No.
Mrs. Draper, do you agree with the findings of the psychiatric examinations given you here at Bellevue?
I do not.
You reject them.
I reject them.
Mrs. Draper, do you believe that you are mentally and physically capable of standing trial?
Yes, I do. I believe it.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. McMillan.
Great. If you're tired, I'm sure the court will permit you to...
I'm not tired.
Well, I just want to make sure that you're feeling all
If I
right.
get tired, I'll let you know.
Mrs. Draper.
Are you tired?
Mrs. Draper, how long were you married?
Nearly 10 years. 6 weeks short of 10 years.
Was it a happy marriage? Was it a happy marriage, Mrs. Draper?
It had its moments, doesn't yours?
Mrs. Draper, do you have any children?
No. No children.
Was that by choice?
Yes, by choice.
Whose choice?
We agreed.
You jointly agreed?
He said if I got pregnant, he'd leave me, so I agreed with him.
So you
He
did.
didn't like stretch marks.
So you didn't get pregnant.
No, I did get pregnant.
You did get pregnant.
January 1974. We came home from a party, and we were both a little drunk. And I couldn't get my diaphragm in. I kept putting too much jelly on it, so it kept popping out of my hand. They do that, you know, they're sort of like fish.
So your husband left you when he found out you were pregnant.
No,
So even though you say he threatened to leave you, he did not leave you.
no, he was a man of honor. He took me to the abortion clinic in a taxi, a checker. I think he said I'd be more comfortable at a checker. He took me home in a Ford. I guess he figured I didn't need to be comfortable on the way home.
Mrs. Draper, did you love your husband?
Yes, I love him. Love him. No, I still love him.
Did he love you?
When I was properly dressed.
Do you believe that's why your marriage collapsed? Because you loved him more than he loved you?
No, he got a better deal.
Ah, you believe he left you for another woman?
I'd say he found another woman so he could leave. But it comes out the same, doesn't it? Actually, he left long before he left. You don't get that, do you? If you leave your wife, you'll send your head and your heart first. A couple of years later, your body will follow them out the door.
So when your marriage collapsed, your husband left your joint home.
No, I did. He showed me the lease with his name on it.
He showed you the lease and he kicked you out, right?
Kicking wasn't his style. He liked to point. He kept pointing to the door.
He pointed to the door and you immediately left.
Immediately.
You didn't.
No. He had another tack of honor and moved into the St. Regis until Karen put up new wallpaper. She puts up new wallpaper for each new man. The sheets stay the same, but the wallpaper changes.
When did you leave this?
When he sublet it to someone who could pay his price.
And you moved to an apartment you could afford to, right?
Right.
Where was
First
that?
Avenue and 55th.
Is that your present address?
Bellevue is my present address.
Is that the address you were living at when you were arrested?
Yes.
Now, Mrs. Draper, while you were married, did you have a job?
Yes. I arranged parties.
You mean you catered?
No, I arranged them. I think of the theme and figure out how to make it work. Say you wanted to have a party celebrating passing the bar exam. I'd have cakes and shows and law books. I'd have Latin phrases on napkins and coasters. I'd have the help dressed in court clothes. I'd have a pate molded like a gavel. Did you get the idea?
And how long did you conduct this business?
4 years.
And you received a regular income from this business?
Irregular. One day I said to Peter, I'm bored out of my mind. I'm going to get a job. And he said, you give such great parties. Why don't you give parties for other people? It never occurred to me to say the last thing I wanted to do inside the house was just write it out. Well, never knew.
And when you terminated this business?
I studied history. I wanted to go to law school, but Peter explained that the law was too complicated for me. But he did explain it very slowly and very carefully. Darling, he said, the law is too complicated, far too complicated for a lovely thing like food.
Now, Mrs. Draper, when you were living at the apartment at, First Avenue and 55th Street, what income did you have?
$100 a week from Peter and $75 a week from a part-time job at NYU.
No other income?
When I signed the separation agreement, he gave me $3,500, but that was 4 months after I moved in.
Did you ask your parents?
No, I
Your
did
Honor.
not.
I don't mean to be rude, but could Mr. McMillan tell us why he's so fascinated with Mrs. Draper's finances? Does he plan on selling her a car?
Where are you headed, Mr. McMillan?
Your Honor, I believe my next series of questions will show, if you would indulge me, sir. Now, how long did you keep a part-time job at NYU?
About 4 months.
And then you took another job, didn't you?
So cagey. Yes, at the Divine Body Massage Parlor.
At the Divine Body Massage Parlor.
Didn't I just say that?
What were your duties at the Divine Body Massage Parlor?
To give massages.
Are you licensed by the state of New York to give massages?
We call them body rubs. You don't need a license to give a body rub.
But that was your only duty.
No, I had to smile.
So all you did at the Divine Body Massage Parlor was give body rubs and smile.
I smoked on my breaks. I tried to read the People's Almanac, and I tried to read about torts.
But you did nothing else for the customers of the Divine Body Massage Parlor except give them body rubs,
Not that
right?
I got paid for it.
The witness has answered the question 3 times.
How long did you work at the Divine Body Massage Parlor?
5 weeks.
And naturally then you took another job, right?
No.
Oh, I see. You lived off the money that you made at the Divine Body Massage Parlor, plus the $3,500 you got from your parents, right?
No, I spent the $3,500 on furniture and kitchen stuff.
Well, Mrs. Draper, what did you live on?
Gifts.
Gifts? Gifts from whom?
Friends.
Men friends? Did these men friends give you jewelry?
Sometimes.
First?
I got a fox boa once.
Did they give you food?
Food. One guy used to bring caviar. Is that what you mean?
Oh, did you exchange these jewels and these furs at the supermarket? Did you offer them to your landlord?
No.
Well, how did you pay for your food? I assume you didn't live on caviar. For your rent, for your telephone answering service. You did have a telephone answering service, didn't you, Mrs. Draper?
Excuse me. Is it legal to take cash gifts?
I beg your pardon, my dear.
If I say to you, here's $100, just because I like you, is that legal?
Yes, that's legal. You're welcome.
A lot of the gifts were cash.
More than $10?
Sure.
More than $20?
Yes.
More than $50?
Yes!
And these cash gifts of more than $50, these cash gifts from these men friends, they were enough to pay your expenses?
Yes.
All of your expenses?
All of them! And tuition at NYU Law School.
And what did these men expect in return for these cash gifts?
Your Honor, as counsel for the people leading up to asking whether
Your
or
Honor,
not...
I have not used the word fee.
The implication of the word is more than obvious.
I
to me.
have not used the word fee, Your Honor.
I'll permit an answer.
What did these men expect in return for these cash gifts?
Friendship.
Friendship? What kind of friendship?
All kinds.
You talked to them?
Sure.
You listened to them?
God, yes.
You did them favors?
Your Honor.
You did them favors?
Your Honor.
What kind of
I
favors?
object to the implication of
What
this
kind of
questioning.
favors?
Hold it, but he's getting totally out of order.
What kind of favors?
I got 100 for a straight lay, 100 for a hand job, 100 for a head, and 150 for ribbing. And Eddie was 100 alone, 50 that's part of the session. You want to wear my panties? That's another 50. You take them home, that's another 50. You come in my face, that's another 100. No whips, no ropes, no spikes, no fists, no brown showers, no gold showers. Got liquor and grass, anything else, you bring your own. Works like this. You call me first, we make a date, we meet for a drink, I look you over, and if I like you, we make a deal. Half the cash up front, half when you leave. Darling. Am I worth the trouble? Take my word for it. If you want the best, do you want the best? I am not talking about some little black Alabama whore you find standing outside the Port Authority bus terminal. Talk about a piece of ass like you've never seen. Talk about good times, darling. Talk about burning fire and cold nights. Talk about taking your body to heaven and your mind with it. Talk about spoiling you so bad you're going to hate every other woman you ever touch. Talk about cinnamon nipples that get hard when you breathe on them. Talk about velvet thighs that get wet when you kiss them. Talk about my mouth on your mouth, and my skin on your skin, and my hair on your hair. Talk about loving you to death. Let me tell you, you're going to walk in hard and you're going to walk out soft. I'm going to show you what dreams are made out of, and I'm going to give you those dreams. Just for you, love you, but you forget all that. Did you all get that? Can you charge me?
Can he, no, he can't charge you.
And how long did you do these favors?
152 days, 5 months.
Can you tell me why you did favors for men for 5 months?
For the money.
For the money?
I made $18,000. No.
At any time during this period, did you ever ask your husband for money?
No.
Did you ever ask your parents?
No.
Did you believe they would refuse to lend or give you the money?
They would have given it to me.
But nevertheless, you chose this life of exchanging favors for gifts, right?
Hurts less to sell your ass to strangers.
If you were in the same position today, would you make the same choice?
Your Honor, she's not in the same position.
I'd like an answer.
I might.
You might once again return to this life rather than ask your parents for money.
I don't know. Maybe if I thought that it would be better. I don't know which price is higher. Either way, you pay and you pay. I don't know. I might. If you're...
All right, sir. Earlier on, we learned that you took notes of your conversation with Dr. Rosenthal.
He didn't like that at all. He didn't like anyone else to hold the pencil.
Did you also take notes of your conversation with Mr. Middleton?
You're a nice girl and you don't belong here. You belong in a nice hospital where we can help you. Wouldn't that be nice? He talked very nicely.
What about Dr. Alvarez?
Mostly in Spanish.
And Mr. Levinsky, did you take notes of the conversation with him?
Of course.
Mrs. Draper, did you trust Mr. Middleton?
No.
And Dr. Alvarez?
Not from here to there.
Dr. Rosenthal?
Bottom of the heap.
And Mr. Levinsky, do you trust him?
For what he is, I trust him.
And you don't trust me, do you?
Why on earth would I trust you? Are you crazy? I'm sorry, that's your question, isn't it?
Have I ever done anything to harm you?
Have you ever done... I don't believe this. Are you auditioning for Looney Tunes? Have you ever done anything to harm me? You and your buddy downtown are trying to put me away.
Mrs. Draper, you don't believe that I have no personal motive and I'm simply doing my job.
Your job is to get me. Your job is to put me in a hospital. I don't know. I guess I'm dumb. I take that personally.
And naturally you think Dr. Rosenthal is acting out of a personal motive too, don't you?
When I tell him that the food stinks, the bugs are eating me alive, and the Thorazine is killing me, he says, my dear, let's talk about where these odd feelings are coming from. Let's talk about your home. Now look at him. You can tell he's smart, can't you? Look at the glasses, the ballpoint pens, the creases in the forehead. Smart! He went to school, he's got the papers to prove how smart he is. Now I bet you, he's got a wife and kids in a nice house. And he believes in his wife and his kids in his nice house. Terrific! But he wants me to believe in him too. Whores are girls who hang out on 8th Avenue and stick needles in their arms. Whores aren't nice white girls from nice white homes with nice white families in Mount Kisco. He knows that. He knows that as sure as he knows his wife is home cleaning the oven and his kids are taking a test in school. You know that, don't you? But what if he's wrong? God, what if he's wrong? What if his wife is bombing the insurance salesman and his kids are peddling dust in the schoolyard? What if he doesn't know his ass from his elbow? What if his wife and his kids and his house and his ballpoints and his creased forehead and his glasses are all bullshit? What if he's nothing but an asshole with the power to lock me up? What if that is all he is, an asshole with power?
Excuse me, Your Honor, for interrupting, but I believe the pressure of this proceeding is doing terrible harm to this patient.
Ah, he wants to take me downstairs.
Your Honor, I'm seriously concerned for this patient's well-being. In her paranoid way, she sees my testimony as an attack on her, and she's lashing out in retaliation. It's a typical reaction. She wants to provoke me.
All it takes to provoke him is to tell him he's not God.
That's what I'm talking about, Your Honor. She'll vilify me. She'll lash out. She'll question my life and my work.
The way you did mine?
Your Honor, in their paranoid way, schizophrenics can be very clever and devious. They try... You hear that laughter? That's an attempt... Just listen to it. That's an attempt to provoke me. I know this syndrome. I've seen it before. I know precisely what she's doing, and I know precisely how to deal with it.
Your Honor, is Dr. Rosenthal threatening the witness?
Doctor, take your seat.
For her own sake, Your Honor, I insist she be taken to the ward.
Take your seat, please.
It's a tactic. It's her technique to provoke me.
This is not NO2. This is my court. Take your seat.
How do you think he's going to deal with me when he gets me back to the ward? What can he have in mind, I wonder?
Mrs. Draper, if you could not worry about Dr. Rosenthal for a moment.
Sorry, Doc.
Now, Mrs. Draper, do you trust his honor of the court?
More than I trust you.
What about Mr. Kirk? Do you trust him?
No.
What about Mrs. Kirk, your mother?
My mother?
Do you trust your mother, Mrs. Draper?
No.
Mrs. Draper, is there anyone in this courtroom you do trust?
Harry.
The only person in this room you trust is Officer Harry.
You can't hurt me. You can, the judge can, Rosenthal can, they can. I don't trust people who can hurt me. Not anymore.
Mrs. Draper, do you believe your mother wants to hurt you?
She doesn't want to, but she will.
You don't believe she wants to help you?
Of course she wants to help me. You all want to help me. The whole goddamn room is nothing but a society to help Claudia. Except for Harry. Harry doesn't want to help me. He doesn't give a damn. Thank God for Harry.
Mrs. Draper, do you believe your mother loves you?
Yes, she loves me.
Do you love your mother?
There was a little girl. I used to say to her, I love you to the moon and down again. And around the moon and back again. And she used to say to me, I love you to the sun and down again, and around the stars and back again. Do you remember, Mom? And I used to think, wow, I love Mama and Mama loves me, and what can go wrong? I love you and you love me. And what can go wrong? What went wrong, Mama? You see, I know she loves me, and I know I love her, and so what? So what? She's there, and I'm here, and she hates me because of things I've done to her, and I hate her because of things she's done to me. You stand up there asking, do you love your daughter? And they say yes. And you think you've asked something real, and they think they've said something real. You think because you toss the word love around like a frisbee that we're all going to get all warm and runny. No. Something happens with some people. Some people love you so much, they're so busy loving you. They stop noticing you're there because they're so busy loving you. Some people love you so much, they're almost like a gun that keep firing it right in your head. Some people love you so much, you go right into a hospital. Yes, I know she loves me. Mama, I know. I know the one thing that you learn when you grow up is that love is not enough. It's too much, not enough.
Mrs. Draper, let me see if I understand you. You think that everyone in this courtroom, except Officer Haggerty, of course, either wants to hurt you or will hurt you?
All of you can, and some of you
All of us can, and some of us will. Most of us?
will. Sure.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. Your Honor, I'd like to recall Dr. Rosenthal, please.
You can step down, Mrs. Draper.
Dr. Rosenthal, as a result of the defendant's testimony, have you changed your opinion?
Wait a second! Wait, one goddamn second. What is this?
Mrs. Draper.
You set me up and then bring him back to hammering the last nail. To hell with that! The Sixth Amendment says I have a right to a speedy public trial. Does the same thing about Bellevue or Article 730 or Thornton or Rosenthal. Why me? Why not you? Did they examine you for your capacity? Did they examine him? I know judges jerks off under his rug. They never give him a test. Let go of me, Aaron.
Mrs. Draper, you're not on the
Then
stand.
take him off and put me on the stand. Don't whip me with your rules while you people are playing with your rules. The meter is running out of my life. Can't you get that I understand you want to help me and I don't want your help? I don't want your help. I know the price of your help. I know I'm supposed to be a good little girl for my mommy and daddy and an obedient and faithful wife to my husband and stick out my tongue for the doctor and lower my head for the judge. I know all those things. Look, I am not just a picture in your heads. I'm not just a daughter or a wife or a hooker or a patient or understand the things that I do, but I do have my reasons. They're not your reasons, so they're not real to you, but they're real to me, and that's enough. You think getting blowjobs for $100 is nuts? I know women who would suck for a dinner and fall through shit for a fur coat. I know women who would peddle their own daughters and hang on to their husbands, so don't judge that and say that I knew what I was doing every minute, and I am responsible for it. I lift my skirt, I am responsible. I go down on my knees, I am responsible. If I play the part you guys want me to play, if I play sick, I won't be responsible. Poor dumb sick Claudia, she's not responsible. The poor sick thing, she needs our help. I won't play that part, I won't give you that out. I won't be another picture in your heads, Claudia the nut. God damn it, you give it. One more time. You can sign a piece of paper saying I'm nuts, but it's only a piece of paper and I'm not something on a piece of paper. You can't make me nuts that way no matter how many times you sign it, and no matter how many times you say it, you can't make me nuts, or you. Get it straight? I won't be nuts for you.
Proceed, Mr. McMillan.
Dr. Rosenthal, in view of the defendant's testimony, do you still believe she lacks the capacity to stand trial?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Mr. Levinsky.
Forget it. Forget it. You won't. You can't.
I have no more questions, Your Honor.
You can step down, Doctor.
Do you rest?
The people rest, Your Honor.
We rest.
Mr. Levinsky, if the defendant would permit an independent examination by a psychiatrist, I'd consider adjourning this hearing for 14 days.
Thank you, Your Honor. That would be more than
Your Honor,
fair.
people would object, might I point out for the record, the defense is resting.
You say people would object, Mr.
Yes, Your Honor.
So be it. The court is concerned that the defendant has not produced any expert medical testimony on her behalf. This is a critical defect in the defendant's case. Nor has the defendant's behavior in this courtroom inspired the confidence of the bench. On the other hand, the court is not satisfied that the opinions expressed by the medical witness Rosenthal are completely persuasive. Thus, I will remand the defendant to the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections to await trial on a felony charge of manslaughter in the first degree. Mr. Levinsky, I suggest that you file an application immediately for reinstatement of the defendant's bail.
If you have business before this court, remain seated. There will be a short recess before the next case. If you need matches, I've got them.
Thank you, Craig. I won, goddamn it, I won. All right, we won.
I'm going to call my office and have them prepare an application for bail and ask for a trial date.
You're going to cost, aren't you, Aaron?
I've got a house in East Hampton to support. You can forget your $18,000.
So now I'm paying for your house?
Rules of the game.
Wait. Wait. I'm sorry. sorry for all the trouble. Please let me touch you. I love you to the moon and down again, and then I'm way back. I love you to the sun and down again, and around the stars and back. I'm sorry.